Welcome back. So we were talking about watching the news. So our take on this will be what it is, but I watch a lot of news. My wife gets mad at me because I only watch news. Don't expose Bailey to the news, and I get it, but I say, she should learn. But whatever, I acquiesce to my wife. I think she's right. My kid doesn't need to hear about this stuff yet. But anyway, I find that I watch the news, and there's so much information on the screen at one time that I don't know what to watch. And if I'm watching and there's a crawl, and there's a thing in the corner, and then there's a crawl, and there's something else in the other corner, and the guy's, or the woman, whoever is talking, and they're showing graphics. I mean, I sit there and I go, what am I supposed to watch? Because I can read and listen, but a lot of times what's on the crawl is more interesting than what they're saying. And I go, oh, damn it, I missed what they were saying. I know I can rewind it.
I always rewind and see what the crawl was.
But it's who's.
It's
why?
MTV stuff. It's kids now process so quickly. I remember in the old days, you just got a half-hour news show. Now,
it's just so much. I mean, the stock they have. Okay, so they have the stock market here, they have the weather here. There's a crawl at the bottom, and sometimes there's like a crawl above the crawl.
Yeah.
And then there's graphics on
Sports
either
scores here.
Yeah, and there's there's a split screen of two people, sometimes 3, 4 people. It's absolutely bonkers.
The thing about that bothers me is I think the weather and the temperature banner crawl is pointless. It's like your phone will give you more information than that, and the 5 cities they randomly pick, like how many viewers did care about that? I mean, we should find another purpose for the weather and temperature.
But those are just little bits.
But why are they there? The point is they're wasted.
I actually look at it and go, oh, it's 82 degrees.
Is that like do they show the cities?
I don't mean local. I mean national.
But do they show the cities that are having a problem, like with a heat wave or snow or whatever?
That'd be a whole news thing. But remember, it's national. So if you're watching CNN or Fox or something, they give Ohio weather. Well, people in Ohio are watching it. Then they'll give California weather.
They'll see it on. Everybody else in the whole nation doesn't care about that. So why is it?
No, I think some people care about the weather. I mean, then you could say, well, why watch any news? Just go on your phone.
Well, no, I'm just talking about the news. The temperature crawl is a waste of news.
Only the temperature crawl.
Yeah, just that.
He doesn't mind the crawl. He just doesn't want when they show the temperature.
The local temperatures are to dumb use.
No, I have a friend who lives in Ohio.
If you get a little piece of tape, you could put it across the bottom of your screen and just block it up. But why?
But I want it to be used for something more valuable.
Like the 50 other things that are going on
that are stupid.
At one
50
time?
Other stupid things. Yeah,
Well, the purpose of talking about it was what should we replace it with? I don't have the answer.
It's the news crawl. I watch it.
I'm just talking about the temperature part.
I know, but it's part of the news crawl. When they're in between the next news crawl, they put a couple.
So
of
if you ran the news division, what would you replace it with?
The weather. I like the weather.
You ever notice when George talks? Can I even tell you when you talk, George? Ask me what time it is, or whatever.
What time is it?
Yeah, he does. He does.
You do like the lean.
I put my hand.
He did lean in the van.
How you do it? I said, I'll talk to him. I'll talk to him on.
Are you leaning?
I go, no. I talk to him on the computer sometimes if I'm in Florida, and I go, George, how you doing? He goes, he
does do that. You're right. He does.
It's okay. I got to finish what you were saying about the
Mr. News Director.
Talk without leaning. He's doing it. Look,
I like that when there's a weather person, usually a weather girl, telling you the weather. I care about it.
Weather girl.
Because you like to see the weather.
I don't want to see a crawl with random cities on it.
Then don't look at it. Just look at the picture.
Do you ever watch the Weather Channel?
Sometimes, yeah.
That doesn't bother you?
No, because it's the Weather Channel.
But they have 50 cities going. They have all the cities
going.
going.
Yeah, but I don't watch it. Even if I pass through it, I don't really.
You're a very difficult man.
No, I'm simple. That's why I don't want it.
So you want it to go back to like Walter Cronkite and a guy at a desk? Really? I mean, I wouldn't mind that. I mean, it was
a nice change.
Yeah, but Does anybody do that anymore? It always seems to be so flashy, and
Yeah,
you know, I got to tell you, you said earlier, it's like MTV News is what it is, and we're a bunch of old farts who just want a guy telling us, or a woman telling us what's going on in the world without any bias.
You know, I hesitated to actually suggest we talk about that because I don't want to be. All I do is complain, but it's
all you do is
That's
complain.
all you do.
All you do is complain. That's all we do. What do we do on this show? We complain.
Yeah, exactly.
Complain about everything.
Yeah.
But
No, I do love news. I watch all the news all the time.
so if you watch news for 20 minutes, that's all you have to watch, because it repeats and it repeats.
Oh yeah, when you get the national,
And, you know, you want whatever show you're watching, whatever on CNN, Fox, whatever MS, whatever you're watching on. So the news starts at 7 o'clock, whatever show it is, and so this and that. You watch the rest of it. 8 o'clock, same exact opening.
Yeah.
9 o'clock, same exact openings, same exact stories, and I think to myself, do they? Is that the rule? Is it on purpose?
Yeah. Well, I get
don't
up
think
and
they think people watch over and over and over. They go about their day.
No. I don't go about it. I watch. No,
watch
you know
this
what?
all day.
I get up at 7 in the morning. I turn on Channel 5 News, KTLA.
You watch the local news.
Local news. I like it, and I think the reason.
Sam Rubin died.
Oh, that really bothered me. Oh,
Me too.
Oh my God, I was there the next day when they talked about it, and they got all misty-eyed. They were
He
crying.
was a nice man.
Everyone loved
I
him.
would call him and he'd say, "What do you want to come on
see, I
with?"
never-
I felt so bad, and my wife told me, I was like,
Oh no, it
What?
was so big out here, Scott. It was.
"No,
it was
big for me because I
Yeah,
knew the
but
guy."
I mean, the Channel 5 News, they played like a week of all his shows and his thing, and they would get
He'd been
choked
there
up
forever,
when they
too,
when they talked about him. Yeah, he was a sweet guy, and it was such a unexpected thing.
Where he died from?
Heart attack. But he. No, I think people like to watch the news, and sometimes I do it, and maybe it's a guilty pleasure, but you see all the bad stuff, and you feel,
Better about your
I didn't
life?
have a home invasion.
You feel better about your life.
It's kind of like watching a car accident and being thankful you're not in
Well,
it.
you watched the car chases. We talked about this.
Yeah, we
that,
did talk.
That
Yeah,
I don't
we covered
get.
that.
I don't
The
get
funny
it.
thing about
No, you got to watch a car chase.
what you watch on the news is I don't watch much television, but I avoid the news on purpose. And when you watch, you so much want to talk about what upsets you about the news that you come into the cigar shop.
Yes,
and
he spills it.
recite, I don't. I heard it. All right. And then you go, oh no, and then on this show, and then you.
Hey, but you know what? I'm a multi-inclusive. I watch The View.
You yell at everybody.
I watch the first 50 minutes of The View to see their opinion, and then I'll watch Fox, and I'll watch CNN, and then I come in and yell about everything.
Yes, you do. But I tell you what.
But I like to see what everybody's thinking.
If I've done this, if you just don't watch the news for a week, you're actually in a much better mood.
They say that, but
Yeah,
then
I've done it.
I feel I've missed out on something.
Nothing's
What
going
if
to
there's
change.
an atomic explosion and you didn't see it on the news?
You'll know about it.
Oh, you would.
Yeah, if it's not in L.A., you won't give a shit.
Yeah, that's true.
But no,
God forbid.
but I just find it to be so. I mean, seriously, try just shutting it down. Just try shutting it off and see how much better you're going to be. But I want to
It's a
get back to
routine.
Sam Rubin. I very few things. People die and everybody, but certain things like bothered me. When he died, it bothered me.
So unexpected.
I'll go further. When Glenn Fry died, it bothered me. When Tom Petty died, it bothered me. And I was like, because I felt, Petty and Glenn Fry were like the soundtrack of my life, really. And Sam Rubin, because I knew him and I was on his show so many times, and he was a staple here. It's like, and I didn't get it in Florida, but when he died, I was really upset about it.
Oh, it was huge.
And I said to my wife, "What's Sam Rubin?" I said, "Sam Rubin, Sam Rubin." She says, "Yeah." I went.
And the day before he died, he was on the news in the morning. He went home, and he was supposed to come in the next morning.
Dying to sleep.
And he was supposed to come in the next morning, and he called in work at like 6 o'clock and said, "I'm not feeling well. I'm not going to make it today." And he was home with his wife, is what I heard. And then I guess he had a heart attack. They called the ambulance. They took him away, and he died.
Did he have a big funeral? Do you know?
I think he did. It was private. I think, the news people went and stuff. But for the first 4 days, every time you turned on Channel 5 News,
They were all crying.
They were crying. They were, they got choked up. They were talking about memories. It affected me. And you knew him. I didn't know him.
Yeah,
wow.
I would call him and say whatever, and Sandy would say,
I think it was because it was so unexpected.
Yeah.
And
would you have gone to his funeral?
Well, if I knew him, I might go. I mean,
But you did kind of know him.
No, I never knew him.
No, but you did kind of know him. You saw him every day.
I think that's a little stalker, creepy-ish. If
No,
you
I
just
just-
see somebody and you'd go to a funeral, I wouldn't know anybody. I think funerals are so personal that I would feel intruding if I did not know the guy.
If I could have gone to Glenn Fry's funeral, I would have gone.
Okay,
Or Tom Petty.
Yeah,
Or I would have gone just because I never knew them, but I would have gone to pay my respects to them.
okay. I mean, I just feel that.
I went to Ronald Reagan's funeral. I didn't know him.
Didn't you meet
Met
him?
him.
Though?
Yeah, but I didn't know him.
Well, that's
different.
a different. I'm saying to me, out of respect to the person and the family, to show up and, oh, did you know him? No, I never met him, but I liked his records. To me, it would be like, I would just feel I'm intruding.
I understand.
I'm very selective on whose funeral I go to. I'm not even sure I'd go to you guys.
That's a geographical thing. It depends.
Oh,
how
it has
far-
to be within
has to
4 miles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. It has to be in Woodland Hills, and there's no cemeteries if you're in Woodland Hills. I don't think.
No. I'm very very cautious about funerals and weddings. I mean,
Because you might be next.
exactly. I don't even want to go to mine.
When you went to Reagan's funeral, I know you wanted to go and you
I asked
attended.
Mrs. Reagan if I could go.
Oh, that's what I'm going to ask you.
Oh,
'cause
so
you
you
wound up
knew
next
her.
to her and
Yeah.
Margaret Thatcher.
No,
didn't you?
I wasn't. No. I wasn't
remember
next to
you
Mrs.
sitting
Reagan. I was like one row away from Margaret Thatcher, which just seems silly to me.
But it was
Like, what
funny
the hell am
that
I doing there?
For like not being invited, you wound up in a great.
That was amazing.
Yeah, it was
Great,
something.
amazing.
So you were a gay crasher.
I was a
You're a funeral
a
crasher.
funeral crasher. But I mean, I haven't been to that many funerals.
Yeah, I was
in
going
my
to say,
life.
how selective are you about going to
Oh,
someone's funeral? Like, do you have people that you know that you wouldn't go to the funeral, and some, of course, you would go? Like, I have
If somebody asked me to go, I would go. A family member asked me to go, I would go for sure.
Family's different. I'm talking about.
No, not a family, but their family.
But they would only ask you if they knew you knew him.
You're going to get a bunch of invitations.
No, I'm saying
I don't know.
don't you have to personally feel out of respect for the person to go?
I guess.
I mean, I've only been to a handful
Yeah,
of
me too.
funerals, and I'm very selective on who I would go.
That's what I wonder about. Like, what is the line? Is it somebody that's very close to you, but they're on the other side of the country? Is that an acceptable reason not to go?
No, they got to die on this side of the country.
Is it? Do you go to a funeral when?
Take your time.
Well, the way I look at funerals when I go to a
We're
funeral,
gonna die sitting here.
you can go to the wake. Does that qualify? Then you don't have to go to the funeral. When you go to the funeral, say you go, all right, I'm going to skip that.
I think the wake is enough.
To show your face at the wake. So what if you go? What if you don't go to the funeral, but you show up at the celebration after?
I think that's totally disrespectful,
Yeah, but
George.
I think people. I think.
All right, where's the
I think that
food?
was-
Sorry, where's the food? The
I
cold
don't know.
ones?
They're not going to know. And then do you then go to the actual go to the? Did you do it again?
I broke it.
No, is this sound still going?
Yeah.
Okay, it's still going.
Do you go to the cemetery, or is that a more like?
Wait,
family
what's the
thing?
difference between a wake and a funeral? I thought
wake
there was
is
just a funeral.
The wake is
Or a
the
memorial.
ceremony where the body's there.
Right.
And then the funeral is they
It's the
put the
next
body
day
in the
when they,
put it in the ground.
Yeah.
No, that's the same day.
No, it's not.
yeah,
Sometimes
you-
the wake's the day before.
No, you walk
Well, the wake's
over.
at the house. No, the
Well,
wake
it
is
could
at
be.
church.
It could be at the church, but it's not always
No,
the same day.
that's the memorial service.
No. Usually there's one service, and if it's either the people
It
talk
probably
and then you
depends
go to
on
the.
the religion.
That's true, but I'm saying you only go one time, at least in my experience. Except if it's Jewish, you sit shiva, and you
the
for 7
Jewish
days.
people, you go right in the ground.
Right.
You go right in.
But
Dead,
there
get in the ground.
still is a funeral, like you.
Okay, hang on a second. The person dies. What's the next thing that happens after all the medical stuff?
The wake.
Where's the wake?
At the church, or some people
Somebody's
have
home.
Yes, have it elsewhere, but
Okay.
or it's at the funeral home.
And then you have.
But there's not two funerals. You show up one time for people
My
to talk.
father passed away, and my mom. We went to the burial site. They had a church there,
Right, and you spoke.
and
gathered.
people spoke, and then you go right to the
It's
burial.
a one-time thing.
I've
A
been
funeral's
to,
a
no,
one-time
not,
thing.
I've been to many funerals where the wake is the day before the funeral. And you go to
Okay, well, I
that.
guess they're all different.
Yeah.
But was there any reason why you wouldn't go to a funeral?
Well, I thought about this a lot, but I wonder if somebody has betrayed you during your life, and then I look at it, then do you not go, and that's like your way of protesting, or do you go in spite of the fact that you were mad because now I'm going to show up at your funeral and I've avenged my problem with you?
That's
you're
a little
dead.
psychotic.
You're dead, and I'm not.
Well, I just, we've had,
Sure.
we've had serious,
That is a bizarre.
It's a whole
I
different
demand
side to George. I
fierce
hang out with George
loyalty.
anymore.
I'm going to move closer
no,
to you.
I want fierce loyalty from my friends, and if that isn't the case, then
Then I wouldn't go to the funeral.
well,
You said you want to
You
go.
would go to the funeral just to make sure they're dead.
yeah. I've done
Okay, that I think is a little insane, but we know George. No, I would have to really like somebody or respect somebody to go to the funeral. I would never go to a funeral and a guy betrayed me.
nicer
I
guy
hated
than I am.
because I would be disrespecting him, even though I don't like him. Why would I want to show up at his funeral and then talk to his family when I hated the guy?
But
What about the celebration of life?
what about
If I didn't like the guy, I probably wouldn't go to his funeral.
So hang on. This is
That
George.
I wouldn't, I don't know. I
So if
wouldn't
somebody
like
who
him.
betrayed you dies, you would go to avenge them betraying you, and
Or
so
I
you
would-
got the last laugh on them.
Yes. Yes, I would.
Jeez.
He's,
All right,
he's
let me
scaring
ask it
me.
this way: What is there a situation where you wouldn't go to somebody's funeral?
Yeah, sure. If I didn't like them,
Or know them.
or they were, or know them,
Yeah.
or if
I
they
don't
were
know.
just, or if they were a creep.
I mean,
was
but I
it's
wouldn't go there and go, "You're dead."
It's part
I wouldn't.
of
No. I would think
where I
God
grew up.
would
These
get
things
mad.
go through my head.
Well, you grew up in a different place. He grew up in Youngstown, Ohio,
It's a great
which is
place
kind of a
on earth.
mafia place.
No, it isn't. It's a great place to
Oh, it's not?
go to. Before.
Okay.
Whatever.
Didn't you say they had more car bombs than
Yeah,
any
that
other-
was the Youngstown tune-up thing.
That was a
when the
game.
car blew up.
That was just this was just kids having fun blowing
That was
up
back
cars.
in the last 30 years or so.
No, I think-
George, that's very. I've
you
never,
take loyalty to the grave. That's the way I feel about it.
I understand that, but
Sean, would
do,
you
do
would
go
you
and
go
like
to
do,
a,
will you go and poke the body to
No.
make sure they're dead, or would you talk to the family and go, "I outlived them"?
No, I would be respectful, but I would be there.
But you're not being respectful because you don't like the guy, and you're going there because you're happy he's
I'm
dead.
not happy he's dead.
Well,
I'm
of
going-
course
you
I'm
are.
confused.
Well, I might be, but I would never say that.
But you would walk in there, and the thought in your head is, "I beat you."
I'm happy you're dead, but you're still going to be nice to his family.
guys
George, you're
are
gonna get a lot of
twist-
hate
you're
mail on this
twisting
one.
a little.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
No, I'm going to get a lot of
No,
George.
you're not. No, email us on this
Support
one.
me.
George. Sadie, last name Saadi.
I mean, I've hated people. I wouldn't go to the funeral.
Funeral,
and say,
yeah, I mean,
"Yeah,
I-
you're dead, you bastard."
Right, ask Sean. Let's see what Sean says.
No, would you go to a funeral of a guy you didn't like, or only a guy you really liked?
Only somebody I like.
Yeah. Okay. Greg.
Only someone I like.
Yeah.
You guys.
What if it's your wife's friend? Sorry, and you didn't like the person, and your wife says, "George, come to the funeral, please."
I would go.
Oh, that's different. You're out of respect for your wife.
Maybe the guy betrayed George.
But I don't think the wife would then still
I
be
wouldn't go
friends. No, but would a wife be friends with someone who betrayed her husband?
Maybe that happened a long time ago, and George was wrong in the wrong, really.
But that's a very unique situation. Did you say what I thought you said? Yeah. Well, that's funny.
Maybe George actually betrayed.
Oh God.
He got pissed off. I can't believe I'm hearing this. This is the craziest thing ever. Okay.
I put
you,
the fun back in funeral.
You put the.
All right, that's funny.
Oh, wait,
Okay.
Okay. Put the fun. Like, let's keep going.
Yeah, well,
we're
we
at
gotta
10
stop,
minutes.
though.
George, that
And-
might
and-
be
and
the,
then-
that might be
oh.
the second best pun you've ever had.
Yeah.
George, let me ask you something. We've kind of touched on this, but does the pun just come to you?
Yeah.
Or is it there's no process of connecting anything to anything? You just find the pun. It just you heard funeral and you saw it. No, I don't even know how that would work in your head.
I probably heard that before, but the
Jesus.
way that
You're-
process works is, I actually think of it instantaneously, and I say it before I can even laugh or analyze it, and
Really?
then I laugh with you when I say it. So I laughed, but
Okay.
Yeah.
So this explains everything about you and the funerals. You're just a screwed up individual.
well, that's from getting injured.
Yeah, he had a bad
we
injuries,
told-
and he does puns, and it's called something. We may have
Whistles,
mentioned-
whistles,
Whistles.
Vic.
He will do any. I hate puns. I hate puns. I groan at puns, and everything will be a pun.
And
He'll
they're
say,
funny.
"Hey, did you like the weather
George is
today?"
bad about 700 with the puns.
Yeah, but I don't like them.
I know because you have issues too. with
I
that.
do.
Yeah,
I
but you
have
know
big
what?
issues.
Paul and I, we have a friend Paul, and I'll tell the joke to Paul, and Paul will say it, and you laugh. So I think you don't like my puns.
No.
from me.
I laughed at a hair to the
Ask
right.
Paul.
No, a hair to the
All
right.
right.
No, you. Every now and then, George will come up with a very funny
That was about a
pun. But as
a
generally,
rabbit that was stuck in Paul's garage.
we don't
and
need to
was on
explain
the
what
left
it was.
side, So it was a hair to the right. That's
the point is, I puns are like dad jokes, and they're
No,
forced. They're
they
forced.
aren't. They're not forced at all. He's not forcing a pun. He's not sitting there thinking of a pun, Mark.
No. But puns to me, the reason I say they're forced, is it's a very stretch a lot of times. If they're not really brilliant, like a hair to the right was fine. A dead rabbit was hair to the right, but and dead rabbits are not fun. But he does
I
puns.
went to his funeral. Though.
He does puns that are a stretch. Like we'll say I drove down Ventura Boulevard, and he'll go, I like
So you can't
Boulevard
even think-
burgers.
you couldn't even
no,
think of
I know,
one.
but they become stupid and a reach, and I just don't like them. I don't like them.
Mark is a
like-
writer in what is the Writers Guild, so he analyzes
hope I
every
am.
pun of the professional.
Listen, I was never a pun guy.
George put the fun in funeral. That's hilarious. So okay, so you have a bit of a dark side, George, and you.
No, I'm just honest. I try to be honest.
Honest as the dark side.
I don't know. I mean, I want to talk about the injury because it was not funny, but we used to have across the street from where I grew up in Ohio. There's about 40 acres of just forest, and we created a motocross
we care
track
about the
around it.
forest?
Yeah, no.
What'd you say?
Do we care about the forest? How did you hit?
I'm going to
Get
tell
to
you
the
what
crash.
happened. So we had rules that on the trail it only goes this way because we'd go as fast as we could possibly go, but we never had a fear of somebody coming the other way. And one of my brothers didn't obey that, and I came around a corner, and his handlebar caught my arm here. If I didn't have a shirt on, I'd show you. I have this huge scar.
Take your shirt off, George.
Yeah, take
But,
your shirt. Take your pants off too.
But
So you got hit very badly.
Really
and into
badly.
a coma.
Didn't have a
After-
helmet.
and he was in
Speed
a
it up.
coma.
Yeah.
And then when he woke up, you started having pun.
Yeah.
That's right.
Were you punning back then?
Yeah, I don't remember, but I actually don't even remember the day or the accident. This is what I'm told. I don't remember anything about it.
How long have you been doing puns?
As long
Since
as I
the
can
accident.
remember.
As long
Since
as you
the
can remember.
accident.
No, well, okay.
He was in a coma for how long?
I can't remember. Couple
Anyway,
weeks.
what were we talking
Oh,
about? We got the
I
funeral.
was going into my health problem.
Yes.
Yeah, no, but we were talking about accidents or didn't you
Sicknesses or-
Didn't you have an accident
I've-
supposedly and died?
Yeah.
I would have gone to your funeral.
Yeah, it was reported that I was dead.
I don't know if a lot of
in the
people know
90s.
that.
Yeah, just reported that I was dead. I had such a long.
Okay.
It was on the news that I was dead. It was confirmed that I was dead, and I wasn't dead. And I called my mother. My phone was ringing.
You were
and I-
shopping.
I was Christmas shopping, which I never do.
I couldn't
It
find
was the same time Chris Farley died, and
So you called your home.
My phone was ringing. It was I got all these.
We were
bizarre-
parents thought you were dead.
I got all these bizarre messages. My parents thought I was dead, and I called my parents,
Yeah.
and my mother answered the phone, and she just flipped.
Okay.
She was like she freaked out, right? Because you think you confirm that your son is dead, and then
Like the news.
and then he calls you, and it was just when I said, Mom, I heard my mother say he's alive. I'm like, what the hell is she talking about? because I didn't know what was happening.
Right.
And
Your dad.
and I said, Dad, put Daddy on the phone because he was wailing in the background.
Oh.
And I said, hey, Daddy, he said, I can't talk to you right now. And he hung up the phone. He was so emotional. But it was a very strange couple of days.
The story grew to say.
I never knew why. It was supposed to be some inner office memo at an agency.
Oh, no, they just meant your career.
That was before that.
His brother heard on the radio that he
called
died.
my parents.
And then he called his parents.
Yeah.
And
But your parents had already heard it.
They thought I was dead for about an hour.
And there were no cell phones.
No.
That's the story. Oh, so they couldn't call you. Okay.
But didn't it grow to say that? I'm sorry, I don't know if that's the wrong person, but they said you were in the car with was it Nicolette Sheridan you were dating, and they said that
No,
she died too?
I had dated her, and at the same time Nicolette Larson died.
Larson. I'm sorry.
So because I dated Nicolette, they said Nicolette Sheridan died with me,
Yeah.
and I called her after that, and she was like,
And she was alive.
I said, "Are you dead?" She goes, "No." So she heard about it, and it was kind of a big joke. And
Didn't you say you went out to dinner? And
I went to
people were
dinner, and
looking-
the whole place kind of stopped and looked at me, and I kind of waved, and it was just a weird thing, but.
I was going to say, what's the worst accident or medical thing that ever happened to you? Do you have one? Some trauma? Did you break an arm?
Got in a really bad car accident. I wasn't hurt. No.
I broke an arm at 10 years old. Falling off a jungle gym.
No,
That's the only thing that's ever happened.
Shredded my ankles playing ball and stuff like that.
And my heart was broken
And
one
your
time.
heart was broken. But anyway, so I went to the talking about life and death. I was at my doctor's office today, and I got on the elevator, and this is, I don't know where this came from, where I'm thinking about this, but as the door on this. Whatever. The elevator door opens, and it's this sweet little old man walks in, and he's pulling an oxygen tank, and he's got the things up his nose. And he walks in the elevator. He says, "I got off on the wrong floor," and I went, "Oh," and he goes, "That's the story of my life."
Oh, that's hysterical.
I said, that kind of happens. So the elevator doors open, and I'm like, "Please go, sir." He goes, "No. It's going to take me a while." I said, no, please go ahead. I opened the door for him, and I'm walking behind him, and I said, "Can you get the hell out of the way, please?"
Did you, as a joke, did he crack up?
And he started cracking up, and I saw, and he's just good to
That's
see you and all
funny.
that. Anyway, he's sweet, and I got to tell you, the guy was a smoker, obviously. So it sounds like he had COPD, but he was there pulling the damn tank.
You know what? You got to respect.
Man.
Because all of us can get there, and
you go in the doctor's office, and it's.
You go to a doctor 4 times a week.
I try
right?
to.
Yeah.
Yes, I try to. Anyway, what was the subject of this?
Sleeping. No.
Whatever it was.
Accident. We were trying to come up
comment on. You know what? Send all your comments to George.
and
Tell us what you want us to talk
write in
about.
the email.
Put the
Tell us
fun
what you want us
funeral.
to talk about.
Yes,
And we'll
anyway,
do it.
Sayonara. You see up my nose with the